Before Lady Gaga became one of the biggest stars in the world, she was just a young woman with a dream, and a lot of people who didn't believe in her. Today, her name is known around the world. She is a singer, songwriter, actress, performer, and one of the most recognizable artists of her generation. But her journey to the top was far from easy. Lady Gaga was born Stefani Joanne Angelina Germanata in New York City in 1986. From a young age, music was a huge part of her life. She learned to play the piano when she was still a child and began writing songs as a teenager. She eventually started performing in New York clubs and small venues. But becoming a famous singer didn't happen overnight. Gaga faced rejection and struggled to find her place in the music industry. She had already been signed to a record label, but the deal did not last long. Instead of giving up, she kept performing, writing, and developing the unusual style that would eventually make her famous. Then came the moment that changed everything. In 2008, Lady Gaga released her debut album, The Fame. The album introduced the world to a completely different kind of pop star. Her music was catchy, but her image was just as unforgettable. Songs like Just Dance and Poker Face quickly became massive hits. Suddenly, the artist who had once struggled to get noticed was everywhere. Her career exploded, but Gaga wasn't satisfied with simply becoming famous. She wanted to create an entire world around her music. Her performances became bigger, her fashion became more dramatic, and her music videos became part of her identity. Then came another major turning point. Lady Gaga released The Fame Monster, featuring some of her most recognizable work. Her popularity continued growing around the world, but with fame came enormous pressure. The public constantly watched what she wore, what she said, and what she did next. Instead of trying to fit into the traditional image of a pop star, Gaga embraced being different. And that became one of her greatest strengths. She turned individuality into a brand. She showed millions of fans that being different did not necessarily mean being weak. It could become your greatest power. But Gaga's story was about to become even bigger. She wasn't going to remain only a pop singer. She was about to prove that she could become a serious actress too, and that next chapter would change the way Hollywood saw Lady Gaga forever. Lady Gaga's transition from music to acting became one of the most important chapters of her career. She had already appeared in television and film projects, but her biggest acting breakthrough came with A Star Is Born. In the 2018 movie, Gaga played Ally, an aspiring singer who suddenly gets the opportunity to become a star. The role allowed audiences to see a different side of her. Instead of the dramatic costumes and huge stage performances, viewers saw Gaga in a much more emotional and natural role. Her performance received major praise. The movie became a huge success, and Gaga received an Academy Award for Best Original Song for Shallow. That moment proved something important. Lady Gaga was no longer simply a pop superstar. She had become an award-winning actress and songwriter as well. But behind the success, Gaga has also spoken publicly about difficult experiences and the pressures that came with fame. Her career has never been completely perfect. There were moments when she faced criticism, intense public attention, and enormous expectations. Yet she continued reinventing herself. From electronic pop music to jazz performances and Hollywood films, Gaga refused to stay inside one category. She worked with legendary artists, experimented with different sounds, and continued building a career that was almost impossible to predict. Her fashion also became a major part of her identity. Some of her outfits became so memorable that they were discussed around the world. But behind the costumes was a simple message. Creativity does not have to follow the rules. That message helped Gaga build a huge and loyal fan base. Her fans, known as Little Monsters, became an important part of her journey. For many of them, Gaga represented confidence, individuality, and the freedom to be yourself. And perhaps that is the biggest reason her career has lasted so long. Lady Gaga didn't become successful by trying to look like everyone else. She became successful by becoming completely herself. From performing in small New York venues to standing on some of the world's biggest stages, her journey has been extraordinary. She went from being an unknown young artist to a global music icon, an award-winning actress, and one of the most recognizable entertainers of her generation. And her story is still being written. Lady Gaga's career shows that rejection does not always mean the end. Sometimes it is simply the beginning of a different path. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more celebrity journeys, Hollywood stories, and the incredible lives behind the famous faces we see on screen. Because behind every superstar, there is a story, and Lady Gaga's story is one of the most fascinating